So this is out of the Rolling Stone magazine. Now I saw this early this morning. Sean Combs wrote a personal letter to Donald J. Trump asking for a pardon. So this is in several news feeds. So this is by Cheyenne Roundtree. And it's a 3-minute read, so it's not that long. So you can see a photo of Sean Combs right here, who a younger Donald Trump and a younger Sean Combs. So I'm going to try to pan down. You can see them pictured together. So Sean Combs, he personally wrote a letter to Donald Trump, President now Donald Trump, asking for a pardon after the Bad Boy Entertainment founder. He was sentenced to just over 4 years in prison, according to the New York Times. So Trump, who used to be friendly with Combs on social circuits in New York City, this was in the 1990s to the early 2000s, didn't seem too moved by the 56-year-old's plight, stating he was not considering the request. So it goes on to say that it is not clear what Combs said in the letter nor when it was sent, but Trump, he floated the idea of showing the letter to a room of reporters on Wednesday, so a representative for Combs declined to comment. So Combs directly reaching out to Donald Trump is the latest escalation in the music mogul's bid to secure his freedom after he was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution charges in July. So the charges were born out of a sprawling sex trafficking and racketeering case in which Combs was ultimately acquitted of the most serious charges. So however, a jury found him liable for paying male sex workers to travel across state lines for these infamous freak-offs with his girlfriend Cassie. And it says girlfriends. So last month, Combs appealed the decision, accusing the U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian of acting like a 13th juror during October sentencing. So Combs' legal team claimed defendants who are found guilty of the Mann Act typically get sentences to less than 15 months for these offenses. So even when coercion, which the jury didn't find here, is involved, but Subramanian noted that he was taking into consideration the massive amount of evidence pertaining to the abuse in connection with the freak-offs and the hotel nights when determining Combs' prison sentence of 50 months. So the court rejects the defense attempt to characterize what happened here as merely intimate, consensual experiences or just a sex, drugs, and rock and roll story. Subramanian said when handing down these sentences. So a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which showed that you abused your power and control that you have over the lives of women you possess to love dearly. So you abuse them physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and you use that abuse to get your way, especially when it came to the freak-offs and hotel nights. The defense arguments that all of this was unrelated to the offense conduct in the case doesn't hold up. So Rolling Stones reported in May that Combs had been laying the groundwork. I said lying because that's what it sounds like happened in the beginning. So it's the first word that I could think of. But he had been laying the groundwork for a pardon soon after his arrest in September of 2024. His inner circle cozying up to people in Trump's orbit soon after the November presidential election. And when Combs was acquitted of the most serious charges over the summer, his team ramped up the efforts and they began touching base with the Trump world, political operatives, lobbyists, and key players to try to secure their assistance in earning a pardon from Trump, floating sums of the mid six-figure range if they agreed to help, according to Washington sources. So that's pretty much the article right there. Sorry for it's just been so much is going on. So I know this article is sort of like not directly about some of the current things. This is current, but so what have we had happen? We had the Venezuela incident. Donald Trump, they had went and bombed Venezuela, and then they took the president and what they say kidnapped the president and his wife. Then we had a woman who was murdered by ICE agents and shot in the face 3 times, and that video has been floating around so many times. And so I guess I can kind of add in there that some of the events. And then I also found out that there was a black man that was also murdered with ICE agents, and he's not getting the same outcry as Renee Good, the woman who was killed in Minneapolis by ICE agents. And so a lot of people are holding candle vigils for Renee Good, and they're speaking out on her behalf. And then here you got Sean Combs trying to get a pardon because he probably heard that all those people in January 6th got a pardon, and all those people that probably have checkered past that are loyalists and people that are like in the Trump camp or MAGA world got a pardon if they were involved in some kind of nefarious activities. So I guess he figured, well, maybe I can get up in there and get a pardon too. But notice he didn't even honor his letter. I mean, he looked at it, but he's not giving him a pardon. So that should tell you about this whole regime thing. And that's what it feels like that we're under. We're not even living in a democracy anymore. That this is like a regime. So if you hear any noise, that's that's my dog. So having like little dreams. But anyway, it's crazy. So much has been going on lately, and then I've been hearing a threat to Mexico from the Trump administration that they might go over there and start up something. And then I'm hearing the word nuclear war and World War III and a slow burn of World War III. And then I'm going to add in there was an incident I was looking at over this weekend where some Chinese investors went out to Port Antonio, Jamaica, and they had somehow, I guess they built the hotel and they didn't let the locals, the people who are natives of Jamaica, be able to partake in the hotel, and they pretty much were excluding them. So the locals decided to band together and burn the hotel down. So they said the hotel was only for white people and Chinese people, preferably probably the rich. So those people got their heads together, and it didn't seem like anybody got arrested, because I would bet that some of those officers are also Jamaican and they're locals from the area, and they probably was like, hey, it is what it is. So they burnt that hotel to the ground. So people are getting really tired. I'm hearing a lot of shootings is going on, a lot of violence is taking place, And I wasn't surprised when I saw this about Sean Combs trying to get a pardon. And notice who else is trying to get a pardon. Ghislaine Maxwell, the one that was the girlfriend of the Epstein guy. So Jeffrey Epstein, his girlfriend, and I'm thinking hers might actually go through because she was really close to Donald Trump. And also I'm hearing that they're not releasing all of the files. There's a lot of more information, and the ones that they did release, a lot of people were sick to their stomach at looking at it. So you could see the room where it looked like a massage table. I know some of the photographs had surfaced, and you see pictures that look like kids on the wall or young girls and nude bodies, and it just looked like creepy, the way it looked. And so you could tell it was set up for to do some type of manipulation to somebody, maybe underage. It just looked creepy. That's all I can say to you. But think about it. Too, they said that Donald Trump, he was on the flight list of Jeffrey Epstein, and he had made like 8 flight trips. And then the more they kept coming out about a lot of stuff that had his name in it, he started wanting to point out Democrats that were involved, and he went to attack Bill Clinton and some other people. And he said, why don't you go after them? That's to take all of the focus off of him to point it at other people. And so I think the reason, it might be 2 things going on, is that Sean Combs is black. And that the other thing is, he did a lot of, I'm not saying that all the stuff he did was wrong, but look at what Donald Trump has been doing, and he possibly was involved in some stuff too with Jeffrey Epstein. And then on top of this, Sean Combs started saying a lot of things against Donald Trump, so I guess he remembered that and recalled that if you're not a full loyalist, no matter how much money you throw at him, he don't care. He's not gonna be in your corner if you're not fully in his corner. But I noticed in his first term, Donald Trump, he had people that seemed like they were all in his corner, but a lot of them walked away, or that he terminated them. And I think it might be similar, like even now. So we'll see where this takes us, but I wasn't surprised when he didn't honor his pardon. He didn't want to pardon Sean Combs, because if you look at all the people right now that he converses with, you don't really see hardly too many black people. And the only black person that I think that I did see was Ben Carson, and I think I forget what he used to be, the head of housing. So I don't know if he's still involved in that or not. But he seemed like he's sleepwalking through all of it. And he's like a loyalist, I would say. And a lot of these people that are put in these positions don't have any experience. They don't have any former or prior experience in these issues. They're just in there because they're loyalists to Donald Trump and his beliefs. And so it's not looking good. And I think the outcry with this lady that got killed recently, I believe, she did not deserve to be killed like she did. But I will say this too, I noticed there's a lot of more outcry for her. Not saying that it shouldn't be, but you didn't hear hardly anything about the black man that was killed by ICE before she got killed. And so he was the first one, and you didn't see really that much press coverage about it. So the thing is it should be a wake-up call too to some white folks who might have voted for this man thinking that he was in their corner. I mean, it may seem like it benefits you, but if you are in the way of whatever operation and you get caught up, they can kill you too. So you're not exempt from getting murdered. So that should be the wake-up call. But I really believe that they should have gotten their foot on this long before he got in office. The first term, they should have looked at and evaluated that situation and then determined that this person wasn't fit to be president. The other thing is that when you look at this whole campaign that they're throwing out there, you want to go after Somalians. They want to go and touch down in Minneapolis. Instead of them saying, there's too much heat, there's a lot of anger in Minneapolis, let's stand down and take the soldiers out. No, he sends more soldiers in there. So it sounds like he's also going to send soldiers to some National Guard and other people to other areas. And it's just getting worse. It's just like what I was saying in the couple of videos prior to this one, and I felt like, wow, let me put this one out here. But my next video, I'm going to try to look up this young man that was killed by ICE, whom you don't really hear much about. And some of the people that are like influencers or people who are like podcasters said they didn't want to even aware that there was a black man that was killed by ICE before, Renee Good. And you don't see people raising the roof and saying, oh, let's get this man out of there and all of that. But when this white lady was shot in the face 3 times, you see a lot of more action going on. I don't know if they're going to get the justice for this lady or not, which she does deserve justice, but she not only the one that deserved justice, but everybody else who've been harassed by ICE that have been mistreated should also receive justice just the same. So straight across the board, and that's the way I look at it. And I know I said a lot, and I know a main focus was on this Sean Combs, but so much is going on you almost can't keep up with it. And I will say this, I'm a good discerner of what's going on. I think it's going to get even worse, but I feel like they're trying to rile up the public. They're trying to get people out there so you can get to the point to where that he can invoke the Insurrection Act. And the Insurrection Act that he wants to try to invoke it. So he's almost to the point to where they want to hurt protesters. And, when you got some of these people, they getting online, going on Amazon, buying jackets. I saw a man, he was saying, I guess he was racist or whatnot. He said that he liked going online, getting, ICE gear, a jacket where it says ICE on the back. And he would go to Home Depot and then he would laugh because he would watch all the people running away from him because they were people that probably didn't have any papers. And so he said he got a kick out of that. And so not all these people who say that they're agents are agents. And then you don't know where they're from and where they're taking these people. You never hear about what happened to the people after. Only key figures that are in the news that when there's hot button topics where people, they're following their whereabouts. But what about the other people that have been put on planes? Where are they? Are they coming back saying, oh, we're here safe? Or are they dead? And what I was hearing is that some of the people were being dumped into the ocean. And then they have found some people chained together and dumped into the ocean and finding bodies and stuff of people. And I wouldn't be surprised. And so if somebody can just, going back to the Renee Good incident, if somebody could just shoot you in the face because you're afraid, and that's what it looked like to me when I was looking at the video. It looked like that lady was afraid because they all approached her truck. And she just decided to veer off the other direction. I don't see it as she was trying to run anybody over. I see it she was trying to get out of there because she was scared. But they shot her 3 times. So for them to call her a terrorist, I didn't see no weapons. I didn't see where she was doing anything that was terrorizing. But I did see ICE doing stuff that looked like it was more like terrorizing. So that's my take on all of this. I don't see it getting any better. I see more violence ahead, more protests ahead, and I also have to say, outside of this Representative Green, he's been fighting for this impeachment of Donald J. Trump for the longest out of all of anybody else. I guess some other Democrats and maybe even some Republicans are behind him. I heard, or I'm not even going to say heard, I read that Republicans is trying to move away and distance himself from Donald J. Trump for the midterm elections because what he's doing is looking bad. And they also say this thing that happened with Renee Good is not looking good for them either. And then that whole stunt about the Venezuela incident, he was supposed to go through Congress to get, the go-ahead to do that, and he didn't. So he's exerting powers that he really doesn't have authority to exert. That's what I'm hearing. So it's not looking good on any level. But if you got somebody that just goes and bypass everybody and they say screw the Constitution and we're going to do it whatever we want to do because we can do it, they don't have no empathy and they don't have no compassion for the citizens of all 50 states is from what I'm looking at. Anybody can get it. And Renee Good is a good example. Yeah, I know they're saying that she had a wife and they're saying that she might have been a liberal. It doesn't matter all of that in between. I feel like any citizen of any of these 50 states, if you're in that place at the wrong time, you can get it. And so it's not safe for no one. That's what I'm looking at. And I don't care if you pink, yellow, green, white, purple, black, blue, and whatever you speak. If you out there and they want to do what they want to do, they are power hungry. And they figure because they got the go ahead and the green light, they'll kill you too. So you better watch yourself out there wherever you are and be safe and sound with your family members and stay current on these events because we don't know where it's going to take us, especially when they're talking about going against Mexico and going against other countries and then going and getting involved in nuclear war, because nuclear war, that doesn't affect hundreds or millions. It can affect billions. It can actually destroy a lot of people, maybe even the whole planet. So when you're talking about nuclear fallout, that's a big, big thing right there to be really concerned about. And if he's revving people up like this, even talking about going and doing something, bombing Iran, going to war with them, none of this is going in a good place. I can tell you that much. None of this is going in a good place. So now it's time for some people to wake up. If you was asleep, you better wake up. Whatever you got to do. If you got to drink some coffee, shake yourself off, and you got to take them blinders off, you better see what this is doing, because this going to affect everybody, even the people that think they got some money. You ain't going to be able to live happily like you think. Already he done put a travel ban on a lot of these places, and those places are hitting back by putting travel bans on the American citizens. So a lot of those wealthy people that like to go to vacation and go to all these places, if you ain't got family members there, I don't know what you're going to do, because if they don't want you there, they don't want you there. So I'm going to let this end right here. What you think? Doesn't look like none of this is good, but I do tell you, anybody that's seeing what's going on that has any common sense, I don't think they want to pick this man or anybody that's in his corner to be running for no political seat.